Airport control says we're got the green light. We're on the runway. We're live. Radhika, take us away.
Radha Vinod Bihari Ji ki jai, Radha Ras Bihari Ji ki jai, Radha Govinda Ji ki jai. Nitilila Pravishtam Vishnupada Stotar Sita Shri Srimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj ki jai, Shri Gurudev ki jai. Nitilila Pravishtam Vishnupada Stotar Sita Shri Srimad Srila Bhaktivigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitilila Pravishtam Vishnupada Stotar Sita Shri Srimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Trivikram Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitilila Pravishtam Vishnupada Stotar Sita Shri Srimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitilila Pravishtam Vishnupada Stotar Sita Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Vallabh Tirtha Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitilila Pravishtam Vishnupada Stotar Sita Shri Srimad Srila Gaur Govinda Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitilila Pravishtam Vishnupada Stotar Sita Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitilila Pravishtam Vishnupada Stotar Sita Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Jivan Janardhan Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitilila Pravishtam Vishnupada Stotar Sita Shri Srimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitilila Pravishtam Vishnupada Stotar Sita Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Raksha Shri Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitilila Pravishtam Vishnupada Stotar Sita Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Dayatak Madhav Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitilila Pravishtam Vishnupada Stotar Sita Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitilila Pravishtam Vishnupada Stotar Sita Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Param Guru Dev ki jai. Nitilila Pravishtam Vishnupada Stotar Sita Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitilila Pravishtam Paramahamsa Shri Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Nitilila Pravishtam Sachidananda Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Nitilila Pravishtam Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Gauri Vedanta Chai Srila Baladev Vidya Bhushan Prabhu ki jai. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai. Srila Narottam Srinivas Ramananda Prabhu Chai ki jai. Shri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai. Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Sat Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Swarup Damodar Rai Ramandari Shri Gaur Prasad Vrinda ki jai. Namachai Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री अंतर्द्वीप मायापुर समंतद्वीप कोचुमिद्वीप मध्यद्वीप खोलद्वीप रुद्रद्वीप जानद्वीप मौर्यद्वीप विपात्मक श्री नवद्वीप धाम की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपिका गोवर्धन द्वारस्वनात्मिका श्री ब्रज मंडल की जय। श्री श्याम कुंड राधा कुंज जमुना गंगा तुलसी भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माया की जय। कपिश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा की जय। नृसिंह भगवान की जय। भक्त प्रवेश प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। चारु संप्रदाय की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय। सामगत भक्तवृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी। हरि हरि बोल।
हरि बोल।
जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जनवल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी। जय गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जनवल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी। जय गिरिवरधारी। जय यशोदनंदना जय व्रज जनरंजना। जय यशोदनंदना जय व्रज जनरंजना। जय जमुनतीरावनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय जमुनतीरावनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधे जय कृष्णा जय राधे जय श्री कृष्णा जय राधे जय कृष्णा जय राधे जय श्री कृष्णा जय वृंदावन धाम जय गिरि गोवर्धन 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 जय राधा कुंडा जय श्याम कुंडा 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 जय सच्चिदानंद जय गौरा हरि 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 जय नवद्वीप धाम जय नवद्वीप धाम जय Navadvipadham Jaya Navadvipadham Jaya Navadvipadham Jaya Navadvipadham Jaya Navadvipadham Jaya Navadvipadham Jaya Guru Deva 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Hariva 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 Nitai Gaura Hariva Nitai Gaura Hariva 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 Nitai Gaura Hariva Nitai Gaura Pramanande Hari Hari Bol.
Haribo Radhikadidi, thank you for that nectarian rendition of that most beautiful bhajan. And I believe you're going to be outroing the kirtan at the end of the program. Hope you can stay with us for the Harikatha. I have a few announcements, but I shall invoke first. Can you hear me okay, by the way, just checking?
Yes.
Om Gyan Tirmandasya Gyanjana Salakaya Chakshon Militam Yana Tashmai Shi Gurve Namaha Vanchakalpatruvischa Kripasindu Evacha Patitanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha Trinapi Sunichana Tarorapi Saishnuna Amanina Manadena Kitnaya Sadahari Tate Nukampam Susamik Shamano Bunjait Makipam Vitpam Tat Anya Blasta Sunyam Gyan Kamadir Vitam Anukalenya Krishna Shilam Bhakti Uttama Tate Nukampam Susamik Shamno Bunjana Vitma Kritam Vipikam Hitvak Papadevi Namaste Chivatayo Mukta Daya Bhak Hare Nama Hare Nama Hare Nama Eva Kevalam Kalo Nashtyev 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 Agatia Anyata Jai Gurudev Jai Prabhupada Jai Sarupa Rupanuka Guruvag Jai Raghunath Das Goswami Jai Rupa Goswami Jai Nitai Jai Gauranga Jai Jai Shishi Radha Krishna Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. For my Dandavat pranams to our magnificent and munificent and most beatific parampara, to my Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, to all of the assembled devotees who are eager to hear this nectarian Harikatha on this most sacred Navadwip Parikaram, to all those devotees listening on YouTube and Facebook, and who will in due course listen on the recording on YouTube too. Welcome, a warm welcome to day 5 of Navadwip Parikaram. And I put on the announcement today, don't miss out. You know that expression, the expression is FOMO, fear of missing out. Or also you could say fear of mire and offenses. It could also mean Navadwip Parikaram goes so quickly that every day, you know, if you miss a day of Parikaram at Kartik, you're missing one in 30 days, which is 3.3% of all the Harikata. You miss one day in the Navadwip Parikaram, it's 7 days. It's like a flash. You're missing nearly 15% of the Harikata. So it goes in a flash and it goes deep and it goes quick. So please come, and also please share, because sharing is a sign of devotion. When you share, you are following the instructions of Parampara to share the nectar that is coming in your hearts. We keep it alive through sharing, and that includes sharing where the Harikata is to be found. So a few announcements before I passed the baton across to Shripad Bhaktivedanta Tridandi Maharaj for his map introduction and the other locations we're going through today. I just want to remind everybody that the Pushpanjali to Umadidi will be on May the 1st, but depending on the popularity, which I expect to be pretty profound, it may end up being as much as April the 29th to May the 2nd. It could go up to 4 days. She's an Anga of the Triumvirate of Bhaktivedanta, Vaman Maharaj, Tripakram Maharaj, and our Srila Gurudev. She's an Anga of all three. So it's a celebration. Umadidi wouldn't want it done in her name, but it's done in their name, and she's a glowing Anga of them. So my encouragement to everybody is, if you are a bee, and what I mean by a bee, if you can, we need to connect. We want lots of squirrels, Ram squirrels, people who don't normally speak. We'll have all our big speakers, but we want 200 people, devotees who have experienced Umadidi's magnificence and beauty in her Harikata. And we want those people who don't normally speak to speak for a few minutes, for 15 minutes. So if you're a connector, someone who can connect us to 5 or 10 of those people, please drop me a WhatsApp on 447713158880. I'll put it in Zoom, and please volunteer for being a bee. Also, I'd like to announce on Gorpranim, which is only 2 days away, it's going to be an 18-hour program with 28 speakers from 6:30 in the morning UK time through to 1 o'clock the following morning. So wherever you are in the world, whether you're in Hawaii or whether you are in New Zealand, you will be able to benefit from some Harikata. It will also all be recorded, so whatever you miss will be up on YouTube. So let's fly into today, and I will introduce the locations. Today we're starting off on Koladweep, and Tridandi Maharaj with his map introduction will then hand over to Sriman Brajnath Prabhu, who will take us to Sumudragaha, excuse me for my pronunciation, and then we'll move on to Sriman Madhuvrat, who will take us to Chambahati, and then our dear Shripad Bhaktivedanta Nemiraj will take us to Vijayanagar. Then we'll be going to Rudadweep, and we'll be having some beautiful Katha from Shripad Bhaktivedanta Tridandi Maharaj and Srimati Shamarani Didi at Radhakund. So we'll be finishing at the pinnacle of the locations. So over to you, Maharaj. I shall get the map up, and we shall take it away. I shall ask you to unmute, and just give me one moment to get the map up.
Om Aginatimirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jina Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Guruve Gauda Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarabhaktaya Namo Namaha. And first of all, offering millions and millions of Dandavad Pranams unto the lotus feet of our most beloved Gurudev, Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Astottarasara Shishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again, millions and millions of times, unto the lotus feet of our most beloved Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Astottarasara Shishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and all the Rupanuga Guru Vargya, and all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord on this thread, my Dandavat pranams to you. just a small correction, Yashoda. We're not going to Rudradvip, we're going to Ritudvip. They sound a little bit the same, but Ritu means the spring season, and Rudra is referencing Shivji as Rudradev. So today we're going to Ritudvip. But first of all, when we get the map, I'll indicate we're still in Koladweep initially, where our Keshavji temple is in Koladweep. So we've circumambulated half of the mandal. We've attended Antardweep, and we've heard the glories of Antardweep in the first day. The second day was Ekadashi. So we wandered up from our Keshavji temple on the western bank of the Ganga through Koladweep and into Rudradweep. This was on the second day. Normally we would have done the whole circumambulation in one go, but because it was Ekadashi, we did this short stretch in between to Rudradweep, walking through the township of past Paramatala and Sri Jagannath Das Babaji's Samadhi there, and Prodamaya, etc., to come to near Noigat. So that was the second day. The third day, we were in Goldrundweep. And yesterday, we finalized at Nishingapali with our dear Ashram Maharaj battling through with the Wi-Fi to present to us the most ecstatic description of Nishingadev in Goldrundweep on the border. Actually, I said previously that it's Nishingapali is not in the ancient maps, it falls into Simantadweep. So that's just a technical thing, but just to appreciate that originally Nishingapali was in Simantadweep, but now it's become, through recent maps, included in Goldrundweep. And then we went with Shamarani to Madhyadweep, and we heard about the sages and rishis. Now today, we're back on our the western bank of the Ganga, coming out of Keshavji Gaudiya Math, and we're going to go to the southernmost extremity of the mandal, which is Samudragar, where the ocean meets Ganga Devi. There's a meeting place here, and a very beautiful pastime connected with this idea. Brajanath will describe to you the ecstatic pastime with Bhishma Dev. Bhima, and the king of Samudragar at that time. And then we'll be coming through to Champahata, which is still in Koladweep, and Vidyanagar also is practically on the cusp between Champahata and Ritudweep. Ritudweep is an island where all the seasons gather, and the spring season is considered the emperor of all the different seasons. So there we will celebrate the manifestation of Radha Kund within this Gaur Mandal, which is exceptionally potent and auspicious to describe. So today we'll just be covering Koladweep again, and we'll head into Ritudweep, which leaves 2 islands to complete our complete Mandal Prikrama. That'll be Janudweep tomorrow and Modrumdweep. Then we will have completed all the 9 islands of the Navadwip Parikaram, and all the forests and all the smaller forests, the upavans in between. So that's our journey. So if you can see from the map where Koladweep is, and then we're going to the southernmost region of Koladweep and heading into Ritudweep today. So I hope the devotees are gathering a imprint of this mandal, so we can keep it always, hold it in our minds, so we're never disorientated when we come to this sacred land, and we can navigate our way around without any confusion. And it'll just be a more comfortable state of consciousness if we're familiar with the geography of the mandal. So that's our schedule for today. So I'll pass the baton across to our dear Brajanath Prabhu, who will take us to Samudragar. Jai, Vanchakalpa Trubhyascha, Kripa Sindhavevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo.
Thank you, Maharaj. I should start now. Yashoda Prabhu.
You're muted, Yashoda.
Excuse me.
Yashoda's muted.
Welcome, Brajath Prabhu. Yes, please just carry on. Haribol.
Oh, everyone can hear me properly?
Perfectly.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Okay, great. So happy to be with all of you again in this amazing setting. Yeah, inspired by Srila Gurudev, especially Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. We are today under the guided Anugatya of Sri Satinandana Gaura Hari with great Kirtan party. I heard this morning the great sound of Mridanga, Kartal, and loud chanting of the devotees going towards Samudragar. Samudragar is a very special place, as we have heard from Pujyapat Tridandi Maharaj. It is in the corner of Navadwip, the southern corner, and it is a very amazing place. I remember that we were always with great anticipation and great joy moving to that place. Why? Because there we will hear the glories of the devotees, and that would be a great uproar always. Two parties would be there, one on the side of Bhimsen and one on the side of King Samudrasen. And one party was led by Pujyapat Srila Bhaktivedanta Trivikram Goswami Maharaj, and the other party was under the great leadership and great enthusiastic presentation with great bliss of our beloved Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. So inspired by these great Mahabhagavad Vaishnavas, all the devotees with great happiness. And today also, they all went there with great happiness and enthusiasm. And our Pujyapat Srila Trivikram Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, certainly in the heart of all the devotees, especially the devotees who are advanced in bhakti, they are always present in their heart, and they are always performing this beautiful Navadwip Parikrama. Why? Because it is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's eternal pastime to go to these holy places. So before we start the official, I recite a few prayers. Agyanati mirandasya dyananjana salakaya chakshur unmiritam yena tasmai Sri Gurave namaha Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshay Kripam Stakarmadi Tarangamadye Kripa Maitvam Saranam Prapane Brinde Namaste Charanara Vindam Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nitya Ananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare Hare. Remembering the lotus feet of my beloved Gurudev, I offer my humble obeisances at his lotus feet, where all you beautiful devotees are residing. I also offer at the same time my humble dandavats to all of you, and also to all the Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis who are engaged under the guidance of Sri Satinanda Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and their followers in this beautiful process of pure bhakti, Uttama Bhakti. Today we will hear the glories of Uttama Bhakti. And it is all inspired by our beloved Sri Guru, our Guru Parampara, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Only by their inspiration is our life worthwhile. It is not our own doing. Srila Gurudev again and again warned us, never think that you are the doer. You may be a big guru, sannyasi, whatever, brahmachari, grihasta. It is only by the inspiration of Sri Gurudev that we are able to engage in the activities of bhakti and have any influence upon our environment. So by their mercy today, this lowly fellow, Brajanath Das, is gonna share with you some of the glories what we have heard from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and our beloved Gurudev. So at that time, 500 years ago, about 500 years ago, the first parikrama was inaugurated of Sri Navadwip Parikaram under the guidance of Sri Jiva Goswami and especially Sri Nityananda Prabhu. So Nityananda Prabhu, he came from that very place, yeah, that Navadwip, yeah, Madhyadvip, Koladvip, now entering the beautiful environment of Samudraghar. Yeah. Only by the wish of Sriman Mahaprabhu. There is a very special arrangement of all the forest here that we do not see in Brajamandal. In Brajamandal there is a particular arrangement of the 12 forests, but here it is quite different. And the Lord knows himself why that is like this, and he knows the reason for this. Nityananda Prabhu is telling. We should have, yeah, the darshan, if possible, of all these places, how they are situated here. By this beautiful procession, our praying will increase. What to speak, yeah? We do not have any praying, but the inauguration, that is the beginning of prema, the shraddha, and especially the association with Sat Vaishnavas, with the Premi Bhaktas, it will increase more and more to an extent that is unprecedented. Now, in Sri Samudraghar, having gone a little further, Sri Nityananda Prabhu said to Jiva Goswami, "Oh Jiva, behold this place known as Samudraghar. O most learned one, just see, the two holy places, Dwarkapuri and Gangasagar, are both directly present here." At the time, yeah, of Sri Krishna's appearance, yeah, after the great battle of Kurukshetra, once a king named Sri Samudrasen was reigning here in Sri Navadvip Dham. He was a great devotee of Sri Krishna. He did not know anyone but Lord Krishna. But he had made a vow, I will not leave Navadvip Dham, but I want to have the darshan of Sri Krishna. I have such a strong desire that Sri Krishna should manifest here, yeah, in front of my eyes. I want to have his darshan. How can I have his darshan? So what happened? King Yudhishthir Maharaj, he organized a big sacrifice that is called the Raja Sudya sacrifice. By that sacrifice, the whole planet Earth was informed that the coronation of the emperor, Sri Yudhishthir Maharaj, will take place. Anyone has any objection? They can, call for a battle, and if they can defeat my representatives, who are they? All the brothers of Maharaj Yudhishthir, especially Bhimsen, who is such a powerful warrior that in the battle of Kurukshetra he killed 99 brothers, or maybe of all the 100 brothers, the sons of King Dhritarashtra. Very powerful warrior. So at that time, and one of the Pandavas. So the Pandavas, they sent Bhimsen to this part of Bharat, Varsha, or India. And he challenged King Samudrasen. He came there with all his army. And King Samudrasen was thinking, Sri Krishna is the only master and the exclusive shelter of the Pandavas. If ever they get into danger, certainly, I have heard this, Sri Krishna will certainly come to protect them. He has heard the glories of the Pandavas, that whenever there was any difficulty, Krishna would always appear to protect them. So he was thinking, now I should somehow or other make Bhim very fearful. then what will happen? He will call out in distress to Sri Krishna, and hearing his cry, Sri Hari will certainly bestow mercy upon him. He will manifest himself. So Sri Krishna will descend to Samudra Ghat. That is the place where, now the confrontation between Bhimsen and Samudra Sen is taking place. The place of his servant. And I will easily be able to see his darkest blue form. So thinking like this, the king fully equipped his army, and with elephants, horses, and foot soldiers set out for the battle. The king remembered Sri Krishna, and he began to shoot his arrows towards Bhimsen and his army with great force and great enthusiasm, not willing in any way to become defeated, but trying to bring Bhimsen in such a condition that he would have to cry out. So afflicted by the attack of King Samudra Sen, Bhim became very much afraid. He saw that he was going to be defeated, and in his mind he called out to Sri Krishna, "Oh, Sri Krishna, my Lord, please protect your servant. Give me your shelter at your lotus feet. Please, Aperi, don't let me become a failure. I am not unable to conquer, to endure this fight with Samudra Sen. If I am defeated, it will be a matter of great shame, and I will not be able to tolerate that humiliation." So hearing these beautiful glories, our Gurudev became ready, and also Pujyapat Trivikram Maharaj became ready, and the trumpet would go, one devotee would play the trumpet, because now very soon the beautiful debate will start, manifest in the middle of the thousands of devotees. All were sitting very well positioned, ready to cheer their speakers. So now, Sri Krishna, you are the Lord of the Pandavas, merciful one. It is very shameful if I am defeated and you are my master. An astonishing incident. What then took place? It was truly astonishing. Although Sri Krishna appeared immediately on the battlefield, upon hearing Bhim's pitiful call, no one was able to see Sri Krishna except Sri Samudra Sen. He could see Sri Krishna, and what kind of Krishna he saw. Very youthful Sri Krishna. His bodily luster resembled that of a fresh rain cloud. And he had a beautiful garland of forest flowers around his neck, which were shining like pearls. This is a metaphor, but we can see that how beautiful the forest flowers were, incomparable. So this darshan was given to King Samudra Sen, not to Bhim, not to anybody else. The entire body of Sri Krishna was beautifully decorated with ornaments. He was dressed in yellow garments, and his bodily form was incomparably beautiful. When the king saw Sri Krishna's beauty, he fell, and he was swooning with prema. He fell unconscious. When he regained his consciousness, he prayed, "Oh, Sri Krishna, you are the Lord of the universe, the savior of the fallen. Seeing my fallen condition, you have come to this place. I am so fallen, and I wanted your darshan, and you have come to this place. I am so happy. The people of the entire world sing of your pastimes," King Samudra Sen continued. "Having heard your glories from them, I also developed a desire to see you. O merciful one, I was in a great dilemma because I did not want to leave Sri Navadwip to go anywhere else. This is the vow of the Vaishnavas. They want to stay always in the holy places, knowing that here the eternal pastimes of Sri Krishna are going on. But how to get the darshan of Krishna now? This is my golden chance." King Samudra Sen was so happy. "I had such a strong desire to see your captivating form. Therefore, I vowed that I would get your darshan when you appear here in Sri Navadwip." When is that going to happen? It is 5,000 years ago. Another 4,500 years to wait for Sri Satchinandana Gaurahari to appear. But now, Sri Krishna appeared. "O merciful one, although to fulfill my vow, you have now appeared before me in Sri Navadvip as Sri Krishna, I have yet another hidden desire. Please appear before me as Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Sri Satchinandana Gaurahari Ki Jai Ho." Just then the king saw before him the unparalleled sweetness of Sri Radha and Krishna's pastimes, which were taking place in Kumudvan. Although this place is Bahulavan, according to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but at the same time, also Kamudvan is present in this island. Why? Because 9 islands, yeah, and this is the place of Padasevanam, and here is Bahulavan as well as Kumudavan, and Radha and Krishna's pastimes with the gopis were going on, and this darshan was also given to the king. King Samudra saying, after that, Krishna was grazing his cows. Sri Krishna had come to Sri Kumudavan in the afternoon, where he then performed pastimes with the Sakis. After a while, the king's vision of that pastime disappeared, and he now saw Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu absorbed in Sankirtan with his associates. They were dancing and chanting, filled with ecstatic emotions. His radiant golden body enchanted the mind and maddened the eyes, and it caused an upheaval in the heart of King Samudra Sen. After seeing Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu's beauty, the king considered himself very, very fortunate. There is no one more beautiful as Sri Satinandana Gaura Hari. Why? The combined beauty of Sri Krishna and Srimati Radharani in one form cannot get better and more beautiful. So how beautiful that form is. So king considered himself very, very fortunate. He offered many kinds of glorification at the Lord's lotus feet. After a few moments, this pastime disappeared, and feeling unhappy, the king began to weep. Because Sri Bhimsen was unable to see all these pastimes, he thought that maybe the king was afraid to fight. Thinking in this way, Bhim, the son of Pandu, exhibited increased strength. King Samudra Sen, however, was now satisfied, and he just prayed to Bhimsen to accept his tribute. That, in other words, I surrender to you. After accepting the surrender of Sri Samudra Sen, Sri Bhimsen left for other places. The entire world says that Sri Bhimsen emerged victorious and thus sings his glories. Hearing this, the whole crowd, yeah, all the pilgrims, the yatris, they went cheering wild, and now Pujyapat, yeah, Sri Vikram Maharaj would stand up. He said, Bhimsen is victorious. Then I have won the debate before it started, he says. And then Gurudev was laughing, and he would stand up. He said, sit down, to give me the mic. And then Gurudev would start glorifying the beautiful qualities of the devotion of Samudra, King Samudra Sen. How? He had a darshan, not of that Dwarkadish Krishna, who is the Lord of Bhimsen, yeah, but rather he had a darshan of that Sri Krishna, who is the beloved of the gopis, Gopi Jana Vallabha, Radha Vallabha. Yeah. And not only that, he had also the darshan of Sri Satinandana Gaura Hari and all his associates. This is not an ordinary thing. This is the most fortunate, yeah, inspiration that may come in the heart of any aspiring devotee. And when it is rewarded, this darshan, this is the perfection of our devotion. So King Samudra Sen, in the mood of sweetness and especially compelled by the compassionate and very magnanimous nature of Sri Satinandana Gaura Hari, felt himself extremely fortunate. It is said in the scriptures, and it is reiterated again and again by our beloved Gurudev and our Rupanuga Guru Varga, that Krishna has 2 aspects. One is Aishvarya, that means opulent, and the other one is Madhurya, or sweetness. And it is said that we can all improve our bhakti by becoming the servants of Krishna. But if for one reason or another we are attracted by that sweet manifestation of Sri Krishna, and although there is the Aishvarya manifestation, and it is also very, very prominent and very attractive, but the sweetness of Sri Krishna is overpowering any and all opulence, especially in his Braja Lila. So who is lucky, who is extremely fortunate, he may meet that devotee who is a dedicated, yeah, most beautiful, yeah, associate of Sri Radha and Krishna, absorbed in the sweetness of their leelas, their pastimes. And especially, they are the followers of Sri Rupa. In the pastimes of Sri Satinandana Gaura Hari, the Rupanuga Vaishnavas, yeah, to have their association, Gurudev said, is extremely rare, and we are extremely fortunate to be in their association. Actually, there is no other reason to live, even though we may be conditioned souls. Our Hari Bhakti Vilas is telling us, yeah, we may wander around birth after birth due to our karma, but we have only one desire, and that is to have the association of the devotees who are the followers of Srimati Radharani, who are the followers of Sri Satchidananda Gaura Hari, who are imbibed with that mood. That is the treasure of Sri Rupa, Sri Raghunath, Sri Sanatan, and all their followers, especially Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, our beloved Gurudev Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. How lucky we are.
Sorry to interrupt, Rajath. We need to wrap it up.
Yeah, so Gurudev was telling these beautiful conceptions, and he said, and Bhimsen, he said, although he was victorious in the battle only because King Samudra Sen surrendered to him, but who is the real victory? Who had the darshan of Radha and Krishna and Gopis and Sakas, and who had the darshan of Satchidananda Gaura Hari and his Kirtan party, and who was such a dedicated and beautiful resident of Sri Navadwip Dham? It is King Samudra Sen. So all the devotees in Gurudev's party, they would just roar, and everyone, and Pujapat Trivika Maharaj already defeated. Again, they tried argument, and we were just relishing that beautiful encounter, that beautiful. So this is a very special place for the devotees, especially those who are inspired by our beloved Gurudev. And we could go on a little longer, but my time is up.
Your time is up. So he was 5,000 years ahead of Advaita Acharya.
Yes, yes, yeah.
And that's beautiful. And this is in which dweep is this? I've forgotten what.
This
Maharaj
is in
said.
Koladwip.
This is the bottom of Koladwip.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Brajath. That's although I've heard that guitar before, I hadn't gone in, so this time I'll try and remember it.
Yeah, it is amazing. It is an
Very
amazing.
cool.
And we
Beautiful.
saw that the two great Vaishnavas arguing with each other and laughing and enjoying and relishing
Love that. Love
rasa.
that.
Beautiful,
Love
beautiful.
that. They're getting the best out of each other.
Yeah. It was amazing, amazing.
So,
Vancha kalpa tarupyasya kripa sindhu bevatya patitanam pavanepyo vaishnavepyo namo namaha.
So from Brudge to Brighton, actually he's not in Brighton, but we'll call it Brighton. Shriman, he's the Brighton, he's part of the Brighton Yatra. Madhuvrat Prabhu. On Chapahata, you have 20 minutes, Prabhu. Please share your relishful katha with us.
Dandavats Prabhu, Dandavats Prajanath Prabhu, Dandavats to
Madhu Prabhu.
online Vaishnavas, Tridantigan, Hare Krishna. Om Agyan Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakya. Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namoram Vishnu Padaya Radhikaye Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayaniti Namane. So taking shelter of the lotus feet of Guru Padmaniti Lila Pravishta Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and the lotus feet of Shri Nityananda Prabhu, Shri Mahaprabhu, and our entire Gaudiya Rupa Nuga Guru Varg, who are all of their eternal associates. I pay my respects and beg for their mercy that I may be able to say something as requested by a Zoom team headed by Shodanandan Prabhu. So this place, so from Samudragar, which we heard very beautiful description by Sriman Brajanath Prabhu. So we head back to the main road and then along a little bit and then down a sort of smaller lane. And we come to a very beautiful compound. We go through gates and there's a really, the devotees there cover the whole compound there in very beautiful pandals and colored tarpaulins and flags for all the pilgrims to sit. And we walk through there, and at the end of there is one very beautiful temple called Sri Gorgadadha Gaudiya Math. And this Gorgadadha Gaudiya Math that was established by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in this place. So very beautiful deities of Sri Gorgadadha there. And we sit there with Guru and Vaishnavas in that compound and listen to beautiful bhajans and harikatha. So it's one of my difficult with Navadwip Parikaram to know what is your favorite place. But I think this is one of my favorite places. I have very sweet memories of this place. So this place, Srila Jiva Goswami was taken to this place by Sri Nityananda Prabhu, and Nityananda Prabhu explained that this place is called Champak Hata, which means Champak is a very beautiful flower, which is very dear to Gaudiya Vaishnavas and especially to Srila Gurudev. And Hata means market. So at one time there was a champak flower market in this place. So it's explained that in Satya Yuga there was a Brahmana, and in this place he worshipped Radha Krishna very sincerely with these champak flowers. So being pleased with his service, then Sri Krishna, he manifested, Sri Radha and Krishna manifested. And Krishna said that in the coming Kali Yuga, then you will join me in my pastimes as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And you will be known as Dvijavani Nath Prabhu. So Dvijavani Nath, he is the brother in pastime of Gadadhar Pandit. And I think in Krishna Lila, he is, I've forgotten actually. He is Kamaleka Saki. So also in this place, so the deities that are within this place, that is the beautiful Gaur Gadadhar deities, are very, very tall, like 6-foot deities. They were the deities of Dvijavani Nath, and he devotedly worshipped those deities. And actually, according to what I can understand from Sri Navadwip Mahatmya, then Dvijavani Nath Prabhu was also there present at the time of the parikrama of Jiva Goswami with Nityananda Prabhu, because after this place, then Dvijavani Nath Prabhu, he goes on parikrama with Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Jiva Goswami. And Jiva Goswami and Nityananda Prabhu, they stay at the house of Dvijavani Nath in this place. So this is also the place.
Prabhu, can you say that name slowly?
Oh, Dvijavani Nath. So it's like
Dvija Nama Ras.
No, D-V-I-J-A, so Dvija.
Yeah.
And then Vani, V-A-N-I, and then Nath, like N-A-T-H, like Gopinath.
And who was he in Gauralila?
He was the younger brother of Sri Gadadhar Pandit.
Uh-huh.
He's an eternal associate, but he was also this Brahmana in Satya Yuga who was blessed by.
And that's not the Gadadhar. That's a different. That's not Gadadhar. That's different.
No, that is Gadadhar Pandit, who is Swarup Shakti Srimati.
Oh, okay, that's the Gadadhar.
Yes,
okay.
Yes. Very exalted personality. So then, after some time, then we hear actually. Prior to this, to the appearance of Mahaprabhu, about 300 years, then we hear that Jayadev Goswami, he resided in this place. So then the description of how he came to reside in this place is given in the Navadwip Mahatmya. So I thought I would read a little bit from here. So Nityananda Prabhu is saying that when Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur is writing, when Sri Lakshman Sen was the king of Nadia, Sri Jayadev Goswami, the crest jewel of poets, resided in Navadwip as his subject. Sri Jayadev, whose mind was fixed and peaceful, built a cottage on the banks of Balal Digirka and lived there with his wife Padma. And while living there, he composed a hymn named Das Avatar. So this Das Avatar Stotram, this is in our songbook, and it delineates the 10 incarnations of the Lord, the Das Avatars, and it is also the introduction, the Mangalacharan to the Gita Govind, which we'll discuss a little bit later. So while living there, he composed this hymn. And at some point, that hymn came into the hands of King Lakshman Sen. So the king liked this hymn very much, and he recited it with great pleasure. And then after reciting it, he inquired from his ministers about who had written this hymn. Govardhanacharya, who was present in the assembly, replied, "The great poet Jayadev is the author." And the king asked where the poet Jayadev lived, and Govardhan replied that he lived right here in Navadwip Parikaram. Hearing this, the king secretly found out where Sri Jayadev lived, and at night the king came disguised as a Vaishnava to Sri Jayadev's cottage and paid his respects and sat down to one side. Jayadev could understand that the king had come dressed as a poor Vaishnava. And after some time, the king revealed his identity. Dada, I'm the king. And he begged Jayadev to come to his palace. But highly intelligent Jayadev was completely without material attachments and therefore did not agree to go to the house of a materialist. Sri Jayadev, a one-pointed devotee of Sri Krishna, said, "If you persist like this, I will leave your kingdom and go elsewhere." And the king said, "Please be merciful. Do not leave Sri Navadwip." "O Lord, please have mercy upon me," said the king. "Kindly make some arrangements by which your words come true and my desire will be fulfilled. Across the Ganga, there is an enchanting place called Champakahata. Please stay there for 1 or 2 years." So then the king requested Jayadev Goswami, "You live at Champakahata, and there, if you allow, I will come to visit you from time to time." So it's a little bit like the pastime when we hear about King Prataparudra and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri, where Mahaprabhu won't see the king, even though the king has pure devotion, he's a pure devotee, but Mahaprabhu won't see the king because externally, he says, well, sannyasis, they don't visit the homes of kings because they appear like sense enjoyers. But then eventually, then Mahaprabhu, after the Rath Yatra in Jagannath Puri, he gives his mercy to King Prataparudra, and King Prataparudra comes to him in a very humble way and recites the Gopi Geet. Sorry, I was getting confused there with Geet Govind. So Jayadev Goswami, he says, "I called you a materialist only to test you, and you tolerated my words, even though you are a king. I will live in Champakahata for some time, and you can come secretly to see me, leaving behind your royal opulence." So the poet Jayadev stayed in this place, Champahati, for some time and performed Krishna bhajan according to the process of spontaneous devotion to Sri Krishna, or Rag Marg. So then we hear that in this place, then Jayadev Goswami, who's living with his wife Padmavati, and within his heart, he was writing Sri Gita Govinda, which is a very exalted prayer. Srila Gurudev says this Gita Govinda is like the essence of the Vedas. So Jayadev Goswami, he was a very great Vaishnav, Rasik Vaishnava scholar. And it's said that Jayadev Goswami, he was like the tilak on the forehead of all Vaishnav poets. His very exalted personality. So within his heart, this Gita Govinda, which is very descriptions of the very intimate meetings between Sri Radha and Krishna, was manifesting within Jayadev Goswami's heart. And one day he was seeing one pastime where Srimati Radhika, she was in jealous anger. And Krishna tried many, many ways to break the man of Srimati Radhika, because sometimes her man, her jealous anger, has a cause, and sometimes it has no cause. So Krishna, sometimes he becomes bewildered as to how to break this sulky mood of Srimati Radhika. So then Jayadev Goswami, he began to write, and was manifesting in his heart this verse, which is a very famous verse, Smara Garalakandanam. So Jayadev Goswami started to write this, and Smara Garalakandanam means the deadly poison of amorous love. And Jayadev Goswami he was thinking ahead and seeing this pastime, and he was thinking this deadly poison of amorous love is counteracted by Krishna placing his head at the feet of Srimati Radhika. But when Jayadev Goswami came to write this, then he thought, how can I write this? This seems to be, how can this possibly take place? He was thinking that Krishna, he is like Sarva Shaktiman. He is the possessor of all potencies, and his potencies and his Swarup Shakti Srimati Radhika, she must be therefore subservient to him. He is the owner of all his devotees and all of his Shaktis. And he had this idea that it was incorrect to write this. So then Jayadev Goswami thought, well, I'll go to take my bath in the Ganges and think about this some more. So he went to take his bath, but when he was taking his bath, then who should come to his cottage but Krishna himself, dressed as Jayadev Goswami. So his wife, Padma, she welcomed back her husband, thinking it was her husband. And Krishna, dressed as Jayadev Goswami, he took this pen and he completed this verse. So Krishna wrote, Mama Sirasi Mandanam Dehi Padapallavam Udaram. So Krishna completed this verse, and that means that this deadly poison of amorous love is counteracted by decorating my head with the flower with your flower-like feet. So Krishna himself is saying that he is subservient to Srimati Radhika like this, because Krishna is controlled, as we've heard here so many times, is controlled by the prem of his devotees, and especially the gopis, and especially Srimati Radhika. So this is before the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who came and more openly revealed these things through Srila Rupa Goswami. But prior to that, then some of these ideas, they manifested, and then they were again kind of covered a little bit. Like also, I think recently was the appearance day of Sri Madhavendra Puri. So also he began to reveal some of these things. And Jayadev Goswami, he also began to bring some of these ideas into this world, that Krishna is like subservient to Srimati Radhika. And actually, as Gaudiyas, then we worship Krishna like this. And Srila Gurudev, he was always very strong on this point, that we don't like to see Srimati Radhika in separation from Krishna, but we would prefer to see Sri Krishna in separation from Srimati Radhika. So when she is in control, because the ultimate thing that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give, that is this Palyadasi Bhav, that is the mood of a servant of Srimati Radhika, this Manjari Bhav. So this highest thing that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give, this is still being revealed through personalities such as our Srila Gurudev. So we're very, very fortunate. So then when Jayadev Goswami, he returned from his bath, he saw that this poem had been completed, and he knew that Krishna himself had come in his form to complete this verse. And he said to his wife Padma, you are so fortunate because you have had darshan directly of Shyamasundar Sri Krishna, and you have, I think she also gave him some prasad like this. So it's a very beautiful pastime. And then Jayadev Goswami, he went on to complete this Gita Govinda, which is very dear to the Vaishnavas, but also very dear to, we've heard Jagannath Dev himself in Sri Jagannath Puri. He, one night, there was one Devidasi singing this Gita Govinda somewhere in Jagannath Puri, and the deity of Jagannath, he left the altar, he left the temple, and he ran straight to where this Gita Govinda was being performed. Then the next morning, the pujaris at Jagannath Temple, they saw that all the cloth of Jagannath was torn from running through the thorny bushes, and however he'd managed to get to hear this Gita Govind. And they could understand that the Pujari then had a dream that night, and then he could understand that Jagannath had left to listen to this Gita Govinda. So it's very, very, very dear to Lord Jagannath also. And I think even to this day, this Gita Govinda is still recited, and also very in the Jagannath temple, but also very dear to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. When he was there in Jagannath Puri in the Gambhira, then he used to hear the poems of Chandidas and Vidyapati, but also the poems of Sri Jayadev Goswami, including this Gita Govinda. So we cannot estimate how important this this Gita Govinda is, even though we put it on our heads and we think, I do anyway, and think I'm not qualified to enter into that yet. But still, Srila Gurudev gave us this Gita Govinda in Hindi, and it's been translated into English. And for those who are qualified, we can try to enter into that. So then Jayadev Goswami, from that point in this place, Champahati, then he resided there, and he also received, it's explained in Navadwip Mahatmya, that he received darshan of Mahaprabhu, because every day he would offer champak flowers to his deities. And then one day in his puja, in his worship, then he noticed that Shri Krishna assumed this very beautiful champak color, like a very white color, like we see in our Radha Vinod Bihari, so like a golden complexion. And then he received this beautiful darshan. It says his beautiful complexion of molten gold was very charming, and his extremely beautiful lotus face even put to shame the beauty of millions upon millions of... Sorry?
So I cleared my throat, but actually, sorry to interrupt, time's up as well.
It is 30 seconds I've got. So, so in this place, this very beautiful place, and we sit here with the Vaishnavas, and we also chant one prayer of Sri Jayadev Goswami, that is Sri Mangala Geetam. So very beautiful memories of this place. And sometimes also we would go to the house of the Vaishnavas after this place, that is Shriman Premananda Prabhu's mother and father. They live just on the outside of this temple. So all the Vaishnavas after this place, on the way to Vidyanagar, we would go to this place and take wondrous prasad. So this is a place of the Vaishnavas. It's a place of Sri Gaura Gadadha and our Guru Parampara. So we offer pranam in dust of this place and pray that one day these pastimes may manifest in our hearts. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you, Prabhu.
That makes sense, because that's one of my favorite places on Parikram, and I never realized, and also that's one of my favorite pastimes, and I'd never actually linked them. So what's the first 6 words of the verse?
Of the what? Oh, Smara Garala Kandanam.
Smara?
So Smara, S-M-A-R-A, Garala. Shall I put it in the chat?
Yeah, put it in the chat, because then I can look it up in the book.
already put
in
it
the chat already.
Oh, it's
Okay,
already.
great.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
So I can hear the noises of Navadwip. We're going to move to our special correspondent on the front line of Maya, of the war against Maya, in Navadwip Dham, in West Bengal, India, to our Shripad Bhaktivedanta Nemi Maharaj. Hari Bol, and welcome, Maharaj. And you're speaking for 20 minutes on Vidyanagar.
Hare Krishna, Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksuramritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Mam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Nama Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shishima Bhaktivedanta Narayani Namane Nama Om Vishnupadaya Gaura Prasthaya Bhutale Shishima Bhaktivedanta Bharati Iti Namane Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu Putitanam bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Shri Gaura. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. After visiting Champahati, we proceed into the villages and going through quite small roads through the villages to get to Vidyanagar. And considering the momentous importance of this place, it's a very, very modest, simple presentation there. It's very, it's very down to earth. Temple is quite simple. There's a mandap, quite simple mandap in the middle. But Vidyanagara, it's a place of Vidya. So Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, Raja Vidya, Raja Guhya, that devotional service, pure devotional service, is the king of knowledge. This all knowledge actually comes towards this, to devotional service to Krishna. And remembering that, we're reading from Sri Navadwip Parikaram. So Nityananda Prabhu, who's Adi Guru, Akhanda Guru Tattva, the original spiritual master, and he's talking to Sri Jiva Goswami, who is the most, or will be the most advanced philosopher in the world. Now he begins to talk about, so what is Nityananda Prabhu giving? So Narottam Thakur is explaining that by the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, we can achieve Radha and Krishna in Braj. And Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Vidya Vadhu Jivanam, that the holy name is Jivanam, it's the life and soul of Vidya Vadhu. So Vidya means knowledge, Vadhu means the bride or the consort. So who is this consort called Vidya? This is Srimati Radhika. So chanting the holy name, Vidya Vadhu, that Vidya is the personification of loving devotion service to Krishna. And Vadhu means appearing in the form of his consort, his loving consort, Srimati Radhika. So loving devotional service to Krishna, ultimately it emanates from Srimati Radhika. It's love. Our whole process rests on love. You know, we have Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana. So Sambandha, ultimately it comes to love, because everything is manifested by love, and love is the purpose of our existence. And then Abhideya, also with love, because we have to perform with love, just like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktyabham. He says, and also he says that if you offer me patram pushpam phalang toyam, yo me bhaktya prayachati. If you offer with love, then I'll accept. And then prayojan, what is the prayojan? Prayojan means the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is also love. So love, love, love. Yesterday there was a discussion that how we can become more absorbed. How can we control the mind? How can we arrange that the mind doesn't wander to mundane topics? And the conclusion was there's no mechanical solution to that. But there's one practice that helps. The mind goes, I mean, we love to do, the mind goes where it loves to be, and it loves to be where it thinks it belongs. So because I identify myself as belonging in this material world with material objects, material relationships, and so on, so the mind tends to go there. But when we actually open up to the fact that Krishna loves us, Gurudev loves us, Radha Krishna love us, Gauranga, Nityananda Prabhu, they actually love us. It seems to me that there's a big obstacle. Devotees sometimes have a big obstacle in admitting to themselves that actually Gurudev loves me. It's like even Gurudev couldn't love somebody like myself. This is an art, actually. When we open up to Gurudev's love, like he says in what's that? Bhakti Rasayan. So he says Guru is millions of times more affectionate than a mother. Millions of times more affectionate than a mother. So the fact is that they love us so much, and a very important part of our practice is opening up to that, their affection. And as we feel that affection, then naturally the mind withdraws from these mundane attachments. So this is Vidya. Ultimately, this is love. So Nityananda Prabhu, he explains to Shiljiv Goswami that Matsya Avatar brought the Vedas up after the deluge. He brought the Vedas to Vidyanagara, and that, so Vedas means Vidya, so that's why the place is called Vidyanagara. Then, so then when Maya churns the three modes of material nature, the rishis appear and they spread knowledge throughout the universe. And to do that, they tell the rishis actually take shelter of this place, Sarada Pita. Why so? Because when Brahma began offering prayers to the Lord, thinking that he wanted to create, he opened his mouth and Saraswati was born from his tongue. Specifically there at Vidyanagara. It's inconceivable. There's so many pastimes of knowledge here. Then Nityananda Prabhu explains that the rishis, they're constantly serving here. They're constantly studying their respective branches of knowledge. Valmiki came and received Ramayana. Dhanvantari received Ayurveda. Vishwamitra received Dhanaveda. Shonaka, other rishis, they recited the mantras of the Vedas. Shivji discussed Tantra. And then the 6 darshans, Kapila created Sankhya philosophy there. Gautama brought his Nyaya. Kanabuk produced the Vaisheshik, it's about atoms. Patanjali, he produced his Yoga Sutra there. Jaimini developed the Karma Mimamsa philosophy there. And then Vedavyas, he wrote the Puranas. And then Narada Muni headed up the 5 rishis. So the Upanishads were worshipping Gauranga for a long time. And Gauranga spoke to them like a voice in the sky or an unseen voice. No, yeah, well, he spoke, but he didn't give them darshan. He said that you don't recognize me, you shrutis, because you have a tendency towards impersonalism. But later on, you will appear as my associates on earth and you will see my pastimes with your very own eyes. And then you'll sing my glories. And so then they're waiting. Oh, when will he come? When will he come? It's like waiting for Kali Yuga. It's extraordinary. So Brihaspati also, he is the spiritual master of the demigods. Understanding that Gauranga is going to appear there, he took birth as Vasudev Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya, who's a very important person in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. After he left Navadwip Mayapur. So he taught in Vidyanagara for some time, and the place of his learning is there in Vidyanagara, just slightly away from the place itself, from the temple. And then he said, oh, if he's the Lord, then he will certainly give mercy to me. So he left that place, he left his students there, and he went to Puri, and he became very strong in the Mayavad philosophy. And meanwhile, Gauranga appeared, and Gauranga and his students had a wonderful time defeating Sarvabhauma's students there in Vidyanagara. He was enjoying Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mood as a logician is extraordinary. Generally, the Supreme Lord is very humble, but like when Krishna is facing adversaries as a kshatriya, so he's not humble, he's very forceful. So Gauranga, Nimai Pandit, he enjoyed defeating everybody, and his disciples enjoyed defeating everybody. Hearing about this, Jiva Goswami said, so if logic and Sankhya philosophy, they're inauspicious, why are they allowed in the Holy Dham? And Nityananda Prabhu said that
Sorry,
actually
Maharaj, logic and what?
Say again?
Sorry, logic and what?
Sankhya. Okay, Sankhya philosophy is analytical study of the ingredients of the universe. So it's like there's 24 elements, five gross elements, 5 subtle elements, the senses for gathering knowledge, active senses, that's 20. And then there's mind, intelligence, false ego, and chitta, or the unmanifest pradhan. So there's 24 elements there. So the atheistic Sankhya philosophy is actually against devotional service. Whereas Kapila Dev, the son of Devahuti, he produced his theistic Sankhya philosophy. So Nityananda Prabhu explained that they're not inauspicious in the Dham, but in the Dham, actually, this logic and Sankhya, and karma, they all serve bhakti. So he explained that the scriptures, they provide knowledge. Wicked people use this knowledge to try to nullify devotional service, whereas the devotees use it to develop devotional service.
Brilliant.
So this Vidya, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, who is Krishna seeking the ultimate Vidya. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is seeking the mood of Srimati Radhika. Srimati Radhika has got Krishna's holy grail. It's the mood of service to Krishna. This is Vidya, actually. Srimati Radhika's mood is actually Vidya, and Krishna comes seeking that mood, looking for that mood. And in the form of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is seeking, strongly and strongly and strongly seeking this mood of Vidya, this mood of devotional service to himself. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he appears in this place. And in the pastimes of knowledge there, I wouldn't say that the mood of Srimati Radhika is so strongly manifested. But in any case, that Thakur Bhaktivinoda describes how all the branches of, we could say, worldly knowledge manifest here in Vidyanagara. And then to complete that, Krishna himself comes as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and lifts everything beyond the worldly plane, beyond the mode of not exactly mundane knowledge, it's very elevated. And who is he speaking to? He's speaking to Jiva Goswami. So Jiva Goswami later, having edited Sri Rupa Goswami's books, having studied philosophy, he's given instruction that you should go to Varanasi. And there you should study philosophy under Madhusudan Vachaspati, who's a student of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And then he goes to Braj. He meets with Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, other Goswamis. He becomes perfect in devotional service. And then to validate Sri Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, their presentation of, sorry about that, to to perfect their presentation of bhakti, because they're revealing something which has not been revealed in the scriptures at all. Even Radha, the mood of Radha is difficult to find in the scriptures, difficult to find even in Srimad Bhagavatam, specifically her. A Manjari Bhav, very difficult. So Jiva Goswami validated the presentation of the 6 Goswamis with his Kshatsandarbha, treasure chest of knowledge, having perfected himself, or having become perfected in devotional service, so that he could bring all knowledge to that point. First of all, establishing that Srimad Bhagavatam is the ideal evidence, Amala Praman, and bringing all knowledge towards that point of devotional service to Krishna. So this is a very beautiful place. We can offer our obeisances in the dust of Vidyanagara and pray that we will get real knowledge and be blessed with whatever philosophy and logic and so on that we need in order to make our own faith firm, help others become faith firm, and also to help in our preaching as well. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhasya kripa sindhuveta putitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
Raji, we've thankfully got 3 minutes, and I want to make a statement, but it's kind of a statement with a question. So the statement is a statement and a question, because that was phenomenal, really phenomenal. You linked some things there were just phenomenal. So my experience of my body having cancer, right? So I don't have cancer, my body has cancer.
Yeah.
So you were talking about how Sambandha, Prayojan, and Abhideya are all love, actually. And how we as devotees have a difficulty accepting love, from Gurudev, from Krishna.
Yes.
So in my experience, the missing ingredient that I feel protected by is grace, which is kind of the same word as mercy. I prefer the word grace, just for my own, I just relate to that word more. But I'm acknowledging that I'm covered by my false ego, and really getting rid of my false ego is not up to me. I endeavor, but Gurudev will dissipate that false ego over time. But I can be aware of false ego if I go to my intelligence. So you mentioned intelligence as one of those last 5 ingredients.
Yeah.
So if I press the switch of intelligence and are aware of my false ego, that intelligence can discriminate and go, firstly, my false ego is stopping grace coming. And secondly, my intelligence can link with Gurudev and Radha and Krishna to receive grace. So it's by switching that intelligence on and coming from that position, I have access to grace, which enables me to be in a good situation. That's my experience. And when you said that Kapiladev came to put Sankhya in service to Bhakti, that's exactly what I feel that is graced upon me to do that, because without that knowledge of Sankhya, I'd find it very difficult to access grace.
Intelligence, I mean, we can switch intelligence on, but intelligence has to be controlled by the spirit soul. So we switch on intelligence also by grace.
Right.
Krishna gives us grace.
Right.
Srila Prabhupada told his disciples that I am your intelligence. And there's a magical verse in Srimad Bhagavatam where it states that the Supreme Lord is present in the hearts of all living entities. And this is hypothesized in all of our acts of eating and taking shelter of the intelligence. So Srila Prabhupada, there's a long purport. Srila Prabhupada proves that Super Soul is actually giving us intelligence.
Right.
That the intelligence we get is actually coming from Super Soul. So if we're in a graceful mood, then that intelligence, Krishna, Gurudev will give that intelligence.
Right.
And false ego, we need to understand what is false ego. It's not just pride. Sometimes devotees think, but false ego means, I'm this body. That's false ego.
And I'm this mind as well.
Huh?
And I am this mind.
I'm this mind. Or I am black, I'm fallen, I'm useless, I'm horrible, Krishna couldn't live me. This is all I. That's all false ego.
So shelter of intelligence that comes from Supersoul, comes from Guru. So therefore you can link it to Lobe. If I have greed for grace, or I have greed for grace, then that unlocks that switch. If I don't have, I can either have greed for grace or greed for grace. Is that?
I'm not sure about the switch. I'm not saying it's not there, but you actually operate. We've discussed things like this so often. You have a kind of, you got a mystic ability to engage the intelligence in dissipating very traumatic conditions or very traumatic situations. I remember one particular incident or episode that you went through in your life, and you kind of dispatched that completely. What on earth is happening?
You're on the front line of Maya. Anyway, don't make it too much about me. I don't want to talk about myself, but I just wanted to share with the devotees the power of Sankhya philosophy when used in service to bhakti. That's what I wanted to share.
Yeah, beautiful.
And devotees, for some reason, we don't seem to share the knowledge of Sankhya. It's so powerful, and it's so effective as a weapon.
Yeah, I've been finding that the last year. Sankhya is amazing. The whole Sankhya philosophy is full of axiomatic realities.
100%. And the Western, I've read how those that are expert in Sankhya, they read Western psychology and they realize how immature our Western psychology is compared with Sankhya. So really an amazing Harikatha. That everyone who's online should really watch that again, because there was so much richness in what you said. If you unpack it slowly again, it was incredible. So thank you, Marge. You're really reporting from the front line of the battle against my own special correspondent, Hari Bol. So we're now going to move to, let's see if I can get chastised again. I love Tridandi chastising me. Navadwip. Did I pronounce that right, Marge? Or did I mangle it again?
No, you got it right. Ritu.
Wow, that's out of fear of chastisement, Marge.
Okay,
so
no problem.
So we're now going to move to back to Navadwip, to Sripad Tridandi Bhaktivedanta Tridandi Maharaj, and then we'll be moving to Florida, Miami, although her mind is in Navadwip. So actually we will be moving nowhere. We'll be staying in Navadwip in mind with Srimati Shamarani Didi, both of whom are speaking on Radhakund. So we're at the pinnacle of the entire Parikram. Maharaj, over to you.
Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha. And first of all, offering millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev Nityalila Pravishta Om Astotarzara Shishimad Shila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And the same again, millions and millions of times unto the lotus feet of our most beloved Nityalila Pravishta Om Astotarzara Shishimad Shila Bhaktivedanta Swami Shila Prabhupada, and all the Rupanuga Guru Varga and all the assembled Lord, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. So yes, we've heard such beautiful katha today, coming from Samudraga, Champahata, and just now from our beloved dear Nemi Maharaj in Vidyanagar. So now we come around from Vidyanagar. If we come around from this side, we come to a single gut, and this is opening out to two huge bodies of water. This is really exceptional darshan, in fact. Yashoda Prabhu, if you want to put a picture up of that.
Yeah.
I just sent you a picture there.
Yeah.
So just to appreciate the speciality, I'll read a little bit from this Navadwip Mahatmya book. So,
No, I can hear because I can stick my I'm invisible.
Oh, sorry. Could everyone turn their mics off, please?
Nemi
Yeah.
Maharaj, yeah.
Yeah, I've done it.
So, hearing the name of Sri Gaura Hari, Sri Nityananda got up and said, "This is Sri Radha Kund." Sri Gaura Hari used to afternoon with his devotees. So this is Madhyana Leela, where Mahaprabhu would come and perform Kirtan Madhyana pastimes in Radha Kund. So this is actually Shamakund, this picture here. And this is the meditation that, of course, Mahaprabhu, in the remembrance or in the consciousness of being Radha, would appreciate most. Like when you go to Radha Kund today, the Baitak or the sitting place of Mahaprabhu is facing directly Shamakund, because of course Mahaprabhu is in the mood of Sri Radhika, so he's appreciating Shamakund. And then the Navadwip Mahatmya goes on, behold the beauty of Shamakund, which attracts the minds of people throughout the universe. At the many nearby places are the groves of the Sakis. Sri Gaura Hari used to come here at midday, absorbed in chanting the holy names. He would make everyone joyful by distributing prem to them. Oh brother, there is no place like this in the three worlds. Here devotees worship the Supreme Lord. A person who resides here attains the treasure of prem, and his heart is thus soothed. That day, all the devotees stayed in that place, continuously chanting Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu's name and becoming drowned in prem. They spent the entire day and night in Ritudvip, worshipping Sri Chaitanya Chandra. So this is the description from the Navadwip Mahatmya. And we also find Srila Gurudev has written one beautiful description of Radha Kund, where he's quoting many beautiful verses just to establish the praman or the superiority of Sri Radha Kund. So I'd just like to read the translations of these very beautiful verses. This is from Sri Raghunath Das Goswami praise. O Sri Radha Kund, O Sri Krishna Kund, you destroy all sins and award one-pointed prem. I bow down to you again and again. The Puranas are filled with innumerable descriptions of the glories of these two kunds in Braja Vilas Stava, text 53, by Sri Raghunath Das Goswami. And this is the verse, Sri Vrindavipinam Suryamam Api. And the translation reads, not even Sri Vrindavan, which is supremely delightful because of places like the rasa-filled Rasastali, or Sriman Govardhan, which is the arena of the nectarian ras, where the most confidential amorous pastimes, Kali Krida, and the divine couple take place, are equal to even a shadow of a particle of the glories of Sri Radha Kund. What to speak of other pastime places within Braj Mandal? I take shelter of this Sri Radha Kund, which is more dear to Sri Mukunda than his own life. At Sri Radha Kund, Sri Radha and Krishna Yugal perform their midday Madhyana Leela Vilas, enjoying a variety of amorous pastimes, freely and without any obstruction. This is not possible anywhere else. Therefore, Radha Kund is considered to be the topmost place of bhajan, superior to Nandagaon, Varshana, Vrindavan, and Govardhan. This most confidential place, surcharged with the highest and most sublime loving sentiments, was revealed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, who is endowed with the bhav and kanti of Sri Radha. Previously, Sri Madhavendra Puri, Sri Lokanath Goswami, and Sri Burgaba Goswami also came to Braj, where they revealed various pastime places of Krishna, but they did not reveal this confidential place, which was personally manifested by Sri Gaurasundar, who is Sri Radhika and Krishna combined. So this is just the tip of the iceberg, so to speak, of the immense glorification that is in our body of Shastra, describing the eminence of Sri Radha Kund. There's one more verse I'd like to share with you. This is from Vilap Kusumanjali by Raghunath Das Goswami. Ha Shri Sarobara Sada Tvaisa Madisha Praste Masara Damiha Kalati Kamrange Tvam Chet Priyat Priyatamaiva Tayoritimam Hartasayatya Kripaya Mama Jivitam Tvam. This is saying, O Radha Kund, my mistress is engaging in very secret and beautiful, playful pastimes with her darling Krishna in the kunjas on your banks. You are so near and dear to them. Therefore, I am taking shelter of you, praying for your mercy that you will show me my Swamini, who is my life and soul. So this is the heart of Mahaprabhu's gifts. Mahaprabhu's come to give the gift of Braja Ras, the gift of Braja Prem, and he's enabling us to access these gifts by the singular chanting of this Maha Mantra. This Hare Krishna mantra will open up these gifts in the hearts of the sadhaks. So by chanting carefully, by following this sadhana that Mahaprabhu has given us, we can enter, even though we're so unqualified, or I am so totally unqualified, but by endeavoring to drink this nectar regularly of the holy name, then I am absolutely assured and convinced that at some point, these truths of the glories of this amazing pastime place of Radha Kund will be available to appreciate more fully. This Radha Kund, just to...
Maharaj, sorry, which verse is this, please?
That I just sang, 98 in Vilap Kusumanjali. 98.
Thank you.
In Vilap Kusumanjali. So this place of Radha Kund is so exceptional that even Krishna worships Radha Kund. There's a very beautiful Leela where one day Radha and Krishna and the Sakis, they are playfully enjoying with each other on the banks of Radha Kund itself. And suddenly, Krishna's chest is quite moist, and they have been in the water enjoying pastime. So his chest is moist. And Radhika, she sees her own reflection on Krishna's chest. And she thinks for a moment, Krishna is enjoying with another Saki right in front of me. And she becomes so disturbed. She thinks, okay, I know my Priyatma, he consorts with the other Sakis, but never like this, right in front of me, in such a demonstrative way, because she's seeing her own reflection. Yashoda, have you finished with that Vilap Kusumanjali? It's really...
I'm sorry, I forgot I was showing.
On the screen. So Krishna, he sees his reflection. Radhika sees her reflection on the chest of Sri Krishna, and she goes into the highest state of man, and she storms off, leaving the Sakis and Krishna completely bewildered. Our Madhavrat was just now talking about these two types of man, one with a cause and one without a cause, Sahetu man. And what's the other one called? Sahetu, and Shamrani is there. These two types of man. You're muted, Shamrani.
Sahetu. Sahetu, Sahetu.
Yeah. Okay. These two types of man. So then she goes into a kunj, and all the Sakis come in behind her and say, why are you suddenly becoming upset with Krishna? This was simply a reflection that you saw on his chest, and they can't pacify her at all. And finally, Vrinda Devi, she comes and she tries to pacify Sri Radhika's man. Sri Radhika goes into these states of man, we should understand, to give Krishna an opportunity to serve Sri Radhika. Service is the symptom of love. Service is the treasure of the Vaishnavas, of the Sakis, of Radha and Krishna. So now Krishna, he has to pacify Radhika's man. So the Sakis can't do it. Vrinda Devi can't do it. So then Krishna finally comes into the Kunj. He lays his peacock crown down and his flute at Sri Radhika's lotus feet. And Sri Radhika is still absolutely cemented in this mood of man towards Krishna. She won't even look at him. And the more Krishna tries to pacify her, the more she turns away from him. Krishna is completely devastated. Actually, what had happened this very day was that Chandravali had tried to hijack Krishna on his way to Radha Kund. So Sri Radhika, she had heard of this pastime of Padma and Saiba trying to distract Krishna from coming to Radha Kund. So this mood was already bubbling in her heart, so to speak. And now it just felt the truth of this was coming out, that Krishna had been enjoying with Chandravali right in front of her. So a very extraordinary man was being exhibited here by Sri Radhika. So then Krishna, he comes out of the Kund and he can't pacify her. The Sakis can't pacify her. Vrinda Devi can't pacify her. So then Krishna, he looks at Radha Kund and he thinks, this is non-different from my Swamini, completely and utterly. This is the same as my Swamini. And he begins to glorify Radha Kund, and he finds a broom and he begins to sweep the steps coming down to the Kund. And he finds some very, very beautiful, beautiful, fresh blossoming flowers. And he begins to offer these flowers to Radha Kund. And the Sakis, they are watching Krishna do like this. Krishna has tears in his eyes as he's offering these beautiful divine flowers to Radha Kund. And then the Sakis, they come back into the Kunj and they explain to Sri Radhika, what is Krishna doing? That he's worshipping your Kund, Sri Radhika. And when Radhika hears this, her man dissipates. Her heart becomes soft towards Krishna. She softens completely. And at that point, she comes out of her Kunj and she comes to see Krishna, to observe him worshipping Radha Kund. So this is the position of Radha Kund, that Krishna himself will serve Radhika in this way, in this form, by serving her Kund. This Kund is non-different entirely to Srimati Radhika. And there's more very beautiful verses to substantiate this. In the 11th verse of Upadeshamrita, it's described, the last verse. If ever we read Upadeshamrita or we study Upadeshamrita, we should start from the 11th verse. Why should somebody be inspired to control their senses unless they know what is the purpose of controlling the senses? They have to know the goal of doing this. Otherwise, where will their inspiration be? So this final verse explains this. It says, although after thorough deliberation on the matter, the sages have unanimously declared in the Padma Purana that just as amongst all the gopis, Srimati Radhika is the foremost object of Sri Krishna's great love. In precisely the same way, her pond, this pond of hers, is also the topmost object of his love. Upon one who simply bathes in its waters just once with great devotion, Sri Radha Kund bestows that rare treasure of Gopi Prem, which is so immensely difficult to attain, even for such dear devotees of Bhagavan as Narad, what to speak of ordinary sadhaks. So by some immense fortune in this life, we are hearing these glories, and these glories have come in line from Sri Sachinandan Gaudahari himself, through Rupa Goswami, who was writing this particular verse. So because we have plugged in to this current, this Dhara, coming from Srila Rupa Goswami, through all the 6 Goswamis, coming through Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj, coming through Narottam, Srinivas, Shyamananda, through Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, through Bhakti Vinod Thakur, through Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, and through our Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and through our most beloved Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. We are hooked into this. So somehow, miraculously, we are gifted with the adhikar to actually hear about the glories of Radhakund and to aspire with a real hope, ashabandha, that yes, these truths will manifest. They do have possibility of manifesting in my heart in this lifetime, in this very birth. So I'm holding that hope because I'm connected to my Srila Gurudev. My Srila Gurudev made this hope a total reality. If you're not connected with that Uttam Bhagavat, then that hope is not really turned on, so to speak, in the same way. But if you're connected to an Uttam Bhagavat, then that great grace that our beloved Yashoda was just speaking about is the reality that can genuinely manifest in this birth, because it's coming from such a supreme place. So this place of Radhakund, where we have come, we have left Vidyanagar and we've come to this village. And the other day I was out there wanting to take darshan, and we were inquiring, because it's not so easy to find when you're alone. When you're with the whole Parikrama party, it's very simple because you've got the current of the whole Parikrama. But when you're alone, we were inquiring from many places and nobody had heard of Radhakund. We were asking so many of the locals. And when we finally got to the place where I recognized, yes, this is Radhakund. And now I remember 10 years ago, there was not even a ghat there. Shamrani will remember, there was no even ghat. There was just the bank coming down. But now there's the beautiful ghat there. So we got there and we asked the locals who were sitting at the bank, what is the name of this place? And they told us, Bora Kobla. Bora Kobla was the name of that. And they kept repeating that place. This is not the name of Radhakund. This is just a name that the Bengalis have given to this village. So then now today, they've constructed a pathway going around across a little bridge. So when you're at this ghat, you look across and you see the island. If you put that photograph up, the one that I last sent you, Yashoda, then I can describe from this picture, the last picture I sent you. Then you cross over this little bridge now today, and you can get to what looks like an island when you're sitting beside this ghat that I'm just speaking to. You've got that picture, Yashoda? And you look across and you see this, this view, right? So on the other side of this body of water is that ghat where we always come to, coming from Vidyanagar. If you open it a little bit, there's a white building, and beside that white building, there's a white ghat. Now this is on the other side of there. This is like in the middle, the sangam between the two. On the left side of this picture is Shamakund. On the right side of this picture is Radhakund. And today even, you can actually do practically a full parikrama of Radhakund in Navadwip Dham. But I just want to share with you all a very secret desire that I've had for many, many years. And by the mercy of Guru and Gauranga, if they wish to fulfill that desire, then it will manifest. But my desire is to support any type of uncovering of this kund, so that all the Vaishnavas, when they come to Navadwip, they will be able to see a bustling group of temples and ghats all crowding the banks of Radhakund. It's not impossible. I know it's already they're putting various little kunds here. Already they've done an extra construction here just to get in touch with these different people and to populate this area, to live here for some time more regularly, and to encourage the devotees to come more and more often, because this dham of Navadwip. It's our duty, if we live in this holy Dham of Navadwip, is to support the uncovering of this Dham, which is to be uncovered over the next 100 years, whatever. So as the great community in Mayapur Dham starts to overspill, then many devotees will come to these holy places like Radhakund to take shelter of this Radhakund here in Gora Dham, not just in Vrindavan Dham, that original Radhakund.
Sorry to interrupt, Maharaj, but time's up.
This holy Dham in Gora Dham is non-different to that holy Dham in Gora Dham, non-different entirely. So thank you for your patience. And this holy Dham cannot be glorified sufficiently just in a few minutes. Its glories are unlimited, unlimited to the sky. Jai Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhavayavacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namah. Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, maybe we can talk about weaving that into the Bhakti Zoom promotionals. We can keep repeating that.
Be nice.
So we'll stay in Radhakund, and our dearest Srimati Shamarani will be finishing our beautiful Navadwip Parikaram today. Hare Krishna, Didi, and thank you for beaming in early in the morning there in Florida. You have 20 minutes. Hari Bol.
Jnanam timirandasya jnananjana salakaya chaksurunmilitam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Offer my unlimited obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, to Srila Gurudev, to our Guru Varga, and to all the assembled devotees. That was a very lovely discussion led by Sripad Tridandi Maharaj on Shamakund and Radhakund. And I just want to express my embarrassment that not only do I have no realization of it, but I have no even attraction to it. So I'm just combining syllables for the purification of my tongue. Please forgive me. So as Sripad Tridandi Maharaj quoted a verse from Vilapa Kusmanjali, a verse praying to Radhakund, I'm also quoting a verse from Vilapa Kusmanjali, verse number 15, where Srila Raghunath Das Goswami is praying for the service of Srimati Radhika. Begins, Yada Tavasarodavam Sarasa Ringa Sango Lasat Sarodaha Kalojvalam Madhuravari Sampuritam Sputat Sarasi Jaksi Enayana Jugma Shakshad Vibho Tadaiva Mamalala Sajani Tavaiva Dase. Oh, Sarasijaksi, oh girl with the eyes like blooming lotus flowers, when the splendor of your lake manifested before my eyes, when I beheld the reservoir of nectar sweet water, full of lotus flowers and humming with swarms of intoxicated bees, O Devi, a longing awoke in me to taste the divine mellows of your maidservice. So it was interesting that Sripad Tridandi Maharaj was, expressing his desire to help more and more devotees to come to that Radhakund and Navadwip. Because as Srila Raghunath Das Goswami is saying, ever since I saw that, but of course he really saw it, then a longing in my heart came to worship your lotus feet. So Srila Gurudev was giving a lecture back in the early 90s about this verse. And he's saying thousands upon thousands of lotuses were blooming. The water was so beautiful, so sweet. Everyone could take water from Radhakund. Raghunath Das Goswami saw that the water was so sweet and fragrant. There were lapping waves in Radhakund and Shamakund, especially in Radhakund. Why? Because there, Krishna and Radha and all the Sakis were playing and splashing each other among the lotuses in the water. He saw that the eyes of Srimati Radhika were like those lotuses, that all the lotus flowers were the eyes of Radhika, and that all were searching for Krishna. Such sweet pastimes were going on there. And seeing this, Raghunath Das Goswami became stunned. Then Gurudev continues that apart from the Kadamba flowers, 3 other things resemble Srimati Radhika's hue. The champak flower is the best. Then there's lightning, and then there's gold. So Radhakund was decorated with these flowers and many others, like kunda flowers, which are compared to Radhika's teeth, and sirasa, which are a sign of the morning, nishant. Towards the end of the night, these shears of flowers fall to the ground, making the ground look fully white. The gopis know that this is the sign that morning is coming, so they hurriedly return to their homes. There were Ketaki and also Kimsuki, or Palasa, which has a very deep reddish color. Lavanga, Juti, Madhavi, and Tulsi also bloomed, and the bees especially came to Vrinda, to Tulsi. The air was full of fragrance, and all these flowers glorifying the whole area. Raghunath Das saw all this and also smelled the fragrance. How? Because when he utters his verses, he's uttering these verses in intense separation, rolling on the banks of Radhakund and weeping for that service. So then all of a sudden, suddenly, the vision comes back to him and he enters into antardasa, or internal consciousness. He has 3 kinds of consciousness: internal, half internal, and half external, and fully external. In fully external, he's feeling separation, like when he uttered this verse, and half, he just loses the vision and he's weeping and rolling. And in antardasa, like when he's fully saying this Radhakund, he's actually seeing himself as Rati Manjari. So from the branches of the Kadamba trees, peacocks and peahens were sitting and calling, K-ka, K-ka. Do you know the meaning? Gurudev is asking. On the branches of the mango trees, Sukha and Sari, male and female parrots, were telling so many pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Sukha was glorifying Krishna and Sari was glorifying Srimati Radhika. At last, they made some settlement between them and agreed that both meeting together are so beautiful. And on the pilu tree, Raghunath Das Goswami saw pigeons were inflating their throats and cooing sweetly, sounding as if Kamadev or Cupid was blowing his conch shell. He also heard the kokil and kokili, the male and female cuckoos, singing in the 7th note. The cool air was blowing gently. The Sakis surrounded Krishna. Krishna was in the middle and began to splash them all together. But Krishna went under the water and swam far away. When he returned, he said that only one gopi could play with him, and he selected Srimati. So both began splashing in the water, but Krishna threw so much water that it went into her eyes, and she began to rub her eyes, and she began to rebuke Krishna and call him ill names. So when Krishna was doing this, this Saki, Rati Manjari, who is now in antardasha, or internal stage of consciousness, took the side of Radhika and began to splash water on the eyes of Krishna. But when she began to throw the water, She saw that there was no Krishna, no Radhika, no beautiful scenery, and no Kadambas. So now he's weeping and saying, how did my greed come? It come when I saw Radhakund one day. We see Radhakund, but no greed comes. So we know if we follow that process, keep on hearing, keep on reading, keep on praying, keep on associating, keep on serving the Vaishnavas, and most of all, keep on chanting with prayer and with an open heart, not putting anything in there so Krishna's flute can play his own tune in there. Then one day, one life, it will come. Now, in verse 77 of Vilapa Kusmanjali, this is the most confidential, where Raghunath Das Goswami is saying that Radhika's body is horripilating because after their water sports, they both, along with their sakis, go back onto the shore of Radhakund. And so he's praying now because he lost the service. Now he's praying for it back and weeping. As her body horripilates, will my Swamini's hair, adorned tastefully by the trembling hands of Sri Hari, with creations of many large gunja berries, various blossoming flowers, and amazingly, splendid peacock tail feathers that were eagerly presented by a certain blissful girl, will that award great happiness to my eyes? So this is a the most confidential moods, because here Vrinda Devi hinted to Lavanga Manjari, Rupa Manjari, Rati Manjari, Vilas Manjari, and other Manjaris, who then brought all these ingredients that were mentioned in the verse. Everyone was very glad in their hearts. Not all the flowers were fully blossomed. Some were buds, some were half blossomed, some were fully blossomed. Krishna decorated Radhika with all the appropriate ingredients. He took a comb and began to comb her hair, but his hands began to tremble, and Radhika also began to tremble. By the touch of Krishna, she was also somewhat trembling. All the Sakis who were watching, they were also trembling because they had the same feeling as Radhika. When Krishna meets with Radhika, they have the feeling that Krishna is meeting with her. Then Krishna wanted to decorate her with a peacock feather. So the Sakis arranged for the peacock feather also. He used a comb and other paraphernalia, but why was this peacock feather brought? What was the use of decorating her hair with a peacock feather? It was because of the utmost high love called pranaya. There is a stage of prema called pranaya, where the nayak becomes the nayika and the nayika becomes the nayak. That is, Radharani thinks that I am Krishna and Krishna thinks that I am Radhika. Prem develops to that stage. When one is in the bathroom, he can remove all of his clothing, show his whole body, except of course he covers a certain part. There's no shame. But if he thinks that someone else is there, then he would have so much shame. So Radhika thinks she's Krishna, Krishna thinks he's Radhika, and they both think that they're one, so there's no shame. At that time, one more mood comes, which is Bhranti. When this highest point comes, then happiness appears as sorrow, sorrow appears as happiness, day appears as night, night appears as day, everything is the opposite, and they each think that they're each other. So therefore, with a trembling hand, Krishna, thinking that I am Radhika, he's decorating Radhika with the peacock feathers. And when will this mood come? When will we be able to think like this? Srila Gurudev is saying that we cannot conceive of this now. At this stage, nothing can come. But when one becomes a sadhaka, a real sadhaka, meaning that he does everything for bhav, or he's in bhav and he does everything for prem, then when all worldly thoughts are given up, and such self-identities, like he was saying, I'm physically Narayan Maharaj, I'm a sannyasi, I'm a brahmana. A sadhaka should leave all worldly things, all worldly desires, and this bodily conception of life. Then, having the conviction that I'm a maidservant, Paliyadasi of Srimati Radhika, then automatically all these leelas will come in the heart. I think my time is up.
You have a couple more minutes, Dini.
Okay, so Krishna wants to comb the hair of Srimati Radhika. He caught hold because, if you comb somebody's hair and there are any knots in it, it can hurt. So he first combed her hair, but he took some hair, not all at a time. He divided into sections, some. Because if he had taken all the hair, then it would have gotten stuck and it would have been painful. So he's very conscious not to give her pain. He's sitting behind her, but he keeps looking around to watch her face to make sure that there's no pain. So he caught hold at the root and combed in such a way that there would be no pain. And he asked, is there any pain? She said, no pain. You can continue. So then he made it round. First he made a braid, and then he made it round like a bun, like Parvati, and placed around that many beautiful flowers, such as Bailey, Chameli, Jui, red gunja berries. Especially he made earrings from champak flowers, which began shaking. And Krishna decorated her so beautifully. And at last, when he took the peacock feather, he became like her. She became like him. He also gave her his bangsi, and she posed her hands like his. In this way, he made her like him, and he thought, I'm Srimati Radhika. As Sri Tridandi Maharaj just said, no one can glorify Radhakund sufficiently. It's unlimited. So in the Brajmandal Parikrama, there's a beautiful description of Radhakund. And then even around Radhakund, all the kunjas of her sakis, like north of Radhakund is the kunja of Lalita Devi, Lalitananda, which is shaped like a golden 8-petal lotus. On the northeast is Vishakhanandana, the bejeweled kunj of Visakha, which is shaped like a 16-petal lotus. And the east is Chitranandana, the kunj of Chitradasaki, which displays an amazing varieties, chitra, an amazing variety of forms and colors. In the southeast, Induleka's kunj, shaped like an 8-petal lotus, and it's made of diamonds. In the south is the kunj of Champakalata, shaped like a golden lotus. And in the southwest is the lotus-like kunj of Ranga Devi. Ranga Devi Sukada, which is inlaid with blue sapphires. Tunga Vidya's kunj, it resembles a lotus made of red rubies. So sometimes when Radha and Krishna want to hide, then because they're afraid some Vipaksha person will come, so they'll go into the blue kunj, blue sapphires of Ranga Devi, and then only Radhika shows, Krishna doesn't show, and that way they hide. And so many beautiful pastimes take place here. This is the goal of life. And so we pray that, Gurudev told me once after I had just finished the 4 Manjari paintings, he said, if you get to see them in reality in 3 lives, that will be early. In other words, he told me it's going to take me a very, very long time. I asked him once, can I become a pure devotee in this life? He said, oh yes, if you're like Raghunath Das Goswami. with no time even to look in the mirror, only rolling and weeping. So I'll end my speech here. I pray that one day it will not be a speech, but it will be really from realization. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripasinubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha.
Thank you, Shamrani. Can I ask you a couple of questions, Didi?
Yeah.
I'd love to go deeper into those where all the kunjas are and what's happening in the kunjas. So where were you reading from?
I was reading from, what do you call it? I was reading from Braj Mandala Parikrama book, but Gurudev is quoting from Viswanath Chakravarti and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in their Krishna Bhavanamrita and Govinda Lilamrita. That's where it's very described in great detail.
The Krishna
Bhavanamrita.
Bhavanamrita.
Yeah, interestingly enough, you know, if you translate International Society for Krishna Consciousness into Hindi, Prabhupada translated as Krishna Bhavanamrita Sangha, Antarashtriya Sangha.
Beautiful. Thank you, Shamrani. The other question actually refers to Madhavrat's Harikatha. We had a question as to who Jayadev is in Braj Leela and Gaura Leela.
I can't say. I don't know.
Remains a mystery. Okay. Thank you so much. So we are now at the end of day 5. We have a couple of videos for you. So those who have the greed to stay to this point also get the benefit of some beautiful videos taken by our dear Srimati Yashodhari Didi and some special reporting from our husband Shriman Vipin Prabhu. So I'll just find the videos for you. Here is the first one. This will be Champakata. So I'll just put on share screen. Share screen. I need to share the sound with you. 1 second, that's not working. Share screen, share sound. Here we go. Share. Here is the first video.
By cashless mercy of Gurudev and Guru Vargas where he assembled. By cashless mercy of Gurudev and Guru Vargas where he assembled, this is called Chapahati. This Chapahati is very, very prominent place of Brahmandal Navadwip Parikaram. So here, Jayadev Goswami, he composed Git Govinda. Sriman Mahaprabhu being in Gambhira, always listening Git Govinda and the Kirtan of Jayadev Vidyadati. So when Sriman Mahaprabhu being in Gambhira wanted to realize his 3 desire, then Sarup Damodar Prabhu reciting this Git Govinda. One Jayadev Goswami was writing that Radha Krishna meet together, then Radha became Salki. Krishna tried his level best to break his her Salki mood, but could not do that. Krishna offered his throat, peacock feather still, Radhika Salki mood is still remaining. Then Krishna telling, Smaragala Khandana Mama Shirasi Mandanam, Dehi Padapallava Mudaram, O Smaragala Khandanam, your this prem, your man, your this Salki mood is like poison. So please remove this. Better you can keep your lotus feet on my head. While Jayadev Goswami is writing this pastime manifest on his heart, well, how it is possible? This is Supreme Personality, God and Radhika, his potency. How he can take the lotus feet of Radhika's on his head, especially how Radhika being potency of Krishna, how can she can put this, so could not write. So he went to take bath. Krishna in disguise of Jayadev Goswami came and told Padmavati, please bring my copy, I forgot something. Then he wrote, Dehi Padapallava Mudaram and went out. But Padmavati Devi could not recognize. He thought, this is my husband. After some time, Jayadev Goswami came back and Padmavati asked him, Prabhu, how come you came so early? He went and the midday he came back and write something. And again you come back. Well, no, I not came midday. Well, no, you came. Will I not recognize you? That who is you? Well, no. Well, he write something, yes, bring my copy. Then he saw Krishna wrote his own hand like a golden letter. Dehi Pada Pallava Mudaram. This is the very place where Gurudev and Guru Maharaj is to be very deep mood in this place. So still we are remaining this strategy and it will continue forever. Hare Krishna Gaur Premanande Hare Hare Bo.
Beautiful. I hadn't seen that video, so I didn't know that was Madhav Maharaj going to be reporting. He looked like he was like on Kurukshetra, Krishna is the chariot driver. It looked like he was going to be the rickshaw driver. That was really beautiful. So let's go to our next video, which is, again, I haven't seen it yet, so it should be exciting. Okay. Next video just not coming. Here we go. This is Vijayanagar.
Hare Krishna, by the grace of Shri Guru and Gauranga, the place where we have arrived, this place is known as Vidyanagar. Vidyanagar is in Navadwip in Navadwip. It is mentioned that in Shri Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Navadvip Dham Mahatmya, that when Shri Nityananda Prabhu, he brought Jiva Goswami here and he told him that before the appearance of Srimad Mahaprabhu, Sri Brihaspati, he knew that in future Srimad Mahaprabhu is going to appear here along with his associates. So Brihaspati along with all of his disciples appeared here, and that Brihaspati is none other than Sri Sarvam Bhattacharya. But then Sri Sarvam Bhattacharya did not stay here for too long. He didn't want to preach the philosophy of Mayavad in Navadvip, so he left this place and went to Jagannath Puri. Sri Sarvam Bhattacharya, he said that if my Prabhu knows me, then he would come over there and meet with me. And as we all know, that the conversation between Sri Sarvam Bhattacharya and Srimad Mahaprabhu took place in Sri Jagannath Puri. Why Jiva Goswami said why the place is known as Vidyanagar? Vidya means knowledge, a knowledge which is endowed with realization. In Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned that Vidya Dadati Vinaya, knowledge gives birth to humility. And when one has knowledge, one is able to see the presence of Krishna in all moving and non-moving entities. And that person is called Pandita Samdarshana. Bhagavatam also mentioned that Hrityarth Prati Tana Prati Atmani Tada Vidyata Atman Yathavas Yatatama. Krishna says that there's nothing except me exists. And if you are seeing anything which is independent of me, that is known as Maya. That means nothing exists independent of me. So the reason this place is known as Vidyanagar, because the 6 types of philosophy, the 6 types of the darshan, all of the acharyas came here, all of the promoters of those philosophy came here. Kapil Dev came here and he got the knowledge of Sankhya Dharma from here. Jaimini Rishi, he got the knowledge of Vaisheshik. Shri Vyasadeva wrote all the Puranas here. Patanjal, he got the knowledge of Yoga Sutras, Yoga Shastra here. In fact, it is mentioned that the Adi Kavi Sri Valmiki Rishi also got the knowledge of Sri Ramayana here. So Vidyanagar is a place of all types of Vidya, all types of knowledge. However, the topmost of Vidya is the love of Godhead. Srimad Mahaprabhu, when he was performing his human-like pastimes, his Vidya Vilas Leela, Srimad Mahaprabhu would come and he would have debate with his friends. He would have debate with his fellow students. In fact, there was one time Srimad Mahaprabhu said to Murari Gupta, what are you doing in the school and learning Sanskrit? You should go and do some research on the vegetation because you are from the doctor family. Murari Gupta generally would not reply to Srimad Mahaprabhu because he knew that Mahaprabhu is a dry logician. But one day when Mahaprabhu was teasing him. At that time, Srimad Mahaprabhu, Sri Murari Gupta said that, Gosai, if you really want to ask me something, ask. And when Mahaprabhu asked him a question, and whatever answers Murari Gupta would give, Srimad Mahaprabhu would defeat that argument. And then again he would defeat his own argument. And then he would again re-establish the point of Murari Gupta. So in this way, Mahaprabhu would have some wonderful loving pastimes. This is also a place of Sri Gangadas Pandita. In the Sapta Prahariya, when Mahaprabhu showed his form to all of the devotees in Srivasangam, Sri Mahaprabhu reminded Sri Gangadas Pandit of the time when the Muslims they attacked Sri Gangadas Pandit and his whole family was in danger. Sri Gangadas Pandit came on the banks of Yamuna searching that someone could help him to go across the Ganga. Then there was a boatman who appeared from nowhere and helped him. When Mahaprabhu was showing his Swarupa as per the mood of each devotee, Mahaprabhu said, Guruji, do you know that the time when your family was in danger, who was that boatman? That was me. So inside, if you go, you would also find a tree which is known as pen tree. It has come, Mahaprabhu's kalam, Mahaprabhu's pen has come from, that tree. So it's a place of Vidya, and the topmost of Vidya is, as Bhakti Thakur says, Vidya Vadhu Jivanam. Vidya means knowledge. Knowledge with realization is known in Vidya. And there's also a sutra which says, Vidya Bhagavatam Tanun, the perfection of all the Vidya, or the supremacy of all the Vidya lies in knowing Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srimad Mahaprabhu promoted that Srimad Bhagavatam, as we all know. This is some little glorification of this place. For more details, you can read Sri Navadwip Parikaram. Shri Vidyanagar ki jai, Shri Gangadas Pandit ki jai, Shri Mahaprabhu ki jai, Samast Parikar Vrind ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai, Samagat Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki jai, Shri Nitai Gaur Premalinde, Hari Hari.
Oh, it's playing again. Sorry, 1 second. Okay. Yeah, big thanks to Vipin Prabhu. Very beautiful reporting from Parikata from Navadwip, and also a big thank you to Yashvara Didi, who I think is doing a great job videoing that. So that's a beautiful way to finish. So over to our dear most Radhika Didi, who is going to share some kirtan with us to bring the program, sadly, to a close.
Chintamani Moy Radha Kunda Tata Tahi Kunja Sata Sata Chintamani Moy Radha Kunda Tata Tahi Kunja Sata Sata Prabhala Vedra Mohitaru Lata Mukta Phale Abanata Prabhala Vedra Mohitaru Lata Mukta Phale Abanata Chintamani Moy Radha Kunda Tata Tahi Kunja Sata Sata Swananda Sukhada Kunja Manohara Tahi Te Kutira Shobe Swananda Sukhada Kunja Manohara Tahi Te Kutira Shobe Basiya Tata Gabo Krishna Nama Kabhi Krishna Dasa Lobe Basiya Tata Gabo Krishna Nama कबे कृष्ण दासा लोभे चिंतामणि मोय राधा कुंड तत ताहे कुंज सत शाता हे मानस मोय मुरली रागान पशिबे दासी काने हे मानस मोय मुरली रागान पशिबे दासी काने आनंद माथी बो सकल भूलिबो आनंद माथी बो सकल भूलिबो श्री कृष्ण वंशी रागाने श्री कृष्ण वंशी रागाने चिंतामणि मोय राधा कुंड तत ताहे कुंज सत साता चिंतामणि मोय राधा कुंड तत ताहे कुंज सत साता राधे राधे बोली मुरली राखिबे मोदिया ईश्वरी नाम राधे राधे बोली मुरली राखिबे मोदिया ईश्वरी नाम सुनिया चमुके उठिबे दासी सुनिया चमकी उठिबे दासी के मने करिबे प्राण के मने करिबे प्राण चिंतामणि मोय राधा कुंड तत ताहे कुंज सत साता चिंतामणि मोय राधा कुंड तत ताहे कुंज सत साता जय राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय श्री राधे जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय राधे जय श्री कृष्ण जय राधे 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 जय 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 श्री राधे 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 हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे निताई गौरा हरि बोल निताई गौरा हरि बोल निताई गौरा हरि बोल निताई गौरा हरि बोल जय जय गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद Nitai Gaura Pramanandi, Hari Hari
Hari
Bol.
Bol. So if the Harikatha is the boga and our sadhana is the fire, then I feel your kirtan is the stirring of the pot, Radhika. Thank you. Thank you for your kirtan over the weekend. So now I'm going to be moving into separation. The rest of the day will be melancholic, but also ecstatic because I'll be anticipating tomorrow. So tomorrow, day 6, the penultimate day before Guru Punim, and tomorrow is Janudweep. We'll be doing some map orientation, followed by Ganga Devi, by Shripad Bhaktivedanta Tridandi Maharaj, and then we'll be moving to Madhurumadweep, Mamgachi, by Shriman Prakashatma Prabhu, then back to Shripad Bhaktivedanta Tridandi Maharaj, Sri Vrindavan Das's house, and then Ram Leela with Bhaktivedanta, Shripad Bhaktivedanta Nemi Maharaj, and finishing with Sauranga Murari from by Shriman Vipin Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatrubhischa, Kripasindoevicha. Patitanam Pavanabhyo, Vaishnavabhyo, Namo Namaha. And thank you all, to all of you, for participating with your 2 ears, relishing and hearing and serving Harikatha, facilitating our beautiful speakers. Hari Bol. The live streaming is ending now.